What's going on, guys? My name is Steve. Thank you for stopping by my channel. I'm just an American guy on a journey to discover my British and Irish ancestry. Today, we're going to be reacting to the top 10 things in British culture impossible to explain to non-Brits. I've been sitting here trying to think about what could be on this list, and I have no clue what to expect. You know, it's obvious that British culture and American culture have, quite a few differences, but I'm sitting here, what are some of those things that would literally be impossible to explain to someone like myself about the British culture? I don't know. So anyway, I thought this would be a good video to check out next as we continue to try to understand more about British culture. So let's go ahead and check it out.
I love to laugh.
Toast, I've been meaning to talk to you.
You're talking to me now?
Yes. It's about the sense of humour issue.
I have a terrific sense of humour. It's just very dry.
Welcome to Watch Mojo UK, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things in British culture impossible to explain to non-Brits.
Impossible.
It's not quite nasal enough the way you're doing it, all right? You're not doing it the way he speaks. You're not doing it with the kind of... And you don't do the broken voice when he gets very emotional.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
For this list, we'll be looking at a few causes of cultural confusion that are unique to the small island we call home. What do you find weird about the UK? Let us know in the comments.
Interesting. So these are going to be weird things as well. Interesting. Okay.
Number 10. Marmite. A dark brown savoury spread invented in the late 19th century and made from yeast extract sludge left over from brewing beer. Sounds yummy. Well, actually, it doesn't. But Marmite fans know the very real joy it can bring when spread thinly on hot buttered toast, with a fresh brewed cup of tea to balance out the salty flavour.
It doesn't take long before new recruit Callum Howe finds another jar in a shocking state.
Oh no.
What's the matter?
It's a baby one.
Okay, don't panic.
It's not been used in months.
Not all Brits feel the same though, and Marmite is famously marketed as a polarising food that you either love or hate. The proper stuff is only manufactured in the UK in the Burton-on-Trent Marmite factory. It's been there since 1902 and produces roughly 50 million jars in a year. And no, Australia, Vegemite is not as good. Number 9.
Marmite. I when he said that, I said, I've heard of that, but now I'm not sure if I've heard of both the Vegemite in Australia and Marmite, or if I've only heard of one. I'm not sure, but are those similar? The one that's in Australia, is it kind of the same sort of stuff? I have no idea. And do you guys enjoy that? Let's see, it said it's a savory, salty spread on buttered toast. I don't know what I would think of that. Maybe I should try that sometime.
Public schools are private schools.
Settle down.
You'll often hear it said that our country is run by public school boys. However, this doesn't mean what it might in other parts of the world. It doesn't imply that these politicians went to state-funded institutions and pulled themselves up by their bootstraps. It suggests that they were born into extreme privilege and attended some of the most prestigious fee-paying schools in the world. In the UK, we refer to schools for the general public as state schools, and private schools for the wealthy as public schools or independent schools.
Really?
Except not all private schools are called public schools. Some do actually call themselves private schools, and most call themselves charities too. Registered charities.
What?
Confused yet? No more than you
Yeah.
should be. Number 8.
Okay. Yeah. I'm a little confused on that one. That's interesting. Because I mean, in America, like public school is known as, I guess, what you would consider the state-funded schools. So, and then private schools and charter school. Well, charter school is also a public school, but private schools are, well, private. That's interesting. Okay.
Insults are our love language. Terms of affection and endearment are different the world over. In the UK, you know that someone feels comfortable around you if they insult you to your face. Or they might just be rude.
They're not jokes as such, they're just little things to say. Yeah, it's probably fine in the hands of taxi drivers, or cockneys, or even Geordies.
When you've lived here long enough, you'll learn to tell the difference. Sarcasm may be the lowest form of wit, but it's also a great tool for masking social awkwardness. It stops conversations becoming too serious and fends off the Brits' greatest fear, earnestness. We spend so much time being generally polite, no one wants to put that wall up around their own friends and family.
You know what you are? You're a big bag of shit!
It doesn't mean we love each other any less, but where's the fun in life without some friendly teasing? Deadpan delivery required, of course. Number 7. Town names and their pronunciation.
Okay, yeah, some of these, I watched I watched a video about, English county names. So this is a little bit different, I suppose, than some town names like, well, Shitterton. But, yeah, that's true, though. A lot of the names around, the UK are, I mean, I'm sure they have their history, but they would be hard to explain if I just saw them, be like, huh, that's interesting.
British place names are famously difficult for tourists to get their head around. Even native-born Brits will get tripped up at some point. The English language has a checkered history. You can blame most of the confusion on the Romans, Anglo-Saxons, and the Vikings. Also the French and the Celts. Being able to pronounce the name of Welsh village has even become something of a party piece.
Just up the road from the temperature got to 21 Celsius.
When you take pronunciation out of the equation, however, there are still a lot of place names that sound like somebody might be having you on. From Fatty Head to Scratchy Bottom, there are oddly named towns in every corner of the British Isles. Number 6.
I would say, yeah, that some of those would be like, well, I wouldn't say they would be impossible to explain. I'm sure someone could explain the reason why their town was named Pity Me, for example, or some of these names. But I don't know. I guess some of them would be impossible to explain. So, yeah.
The variety of accents.
There's a ton I've learned.
It gets very loud indeed. It gets very specific. It's not quite nasal enough the way you're doing it, all right? You're not doing it the way he speaks.
Every country has its own differences in dialect and accent, even if it's difficult for an outsider to hear the nuance. But for such a small place, the UK does seem to have a disproportionate amount of variety.
A ton.
For a long time, a British accent was generally thought of as standard received pronunciation. But with the world opening up, regional accents are gradually becoming more familiar to foreign ears.
What I'm saying is that, like, if they had themselves proper jobs, for a gun till, then they wouldn't date. A lot of them's from broken homes.
That was just a noise.
A Glasgow accent is very different from a Newcastle accent, which is different from a Birmingham accent.
You're a good man. And a good soldier.
People in the countryside don't sound the same as those in the town. Some people in Wales and Scotland even speak a whole different language.
Mary Poppins.
And nobody speaks like Dick Van Dyke, bless him.
All right, I'll do it myself.
Number 5. Hot and cold taps. There are a few questions that natives tend to have about British bathrooms. The no plugs thing is clearly a health and safety issue. The carpets are about keeping warm, but separate taps for hot and cold, they're a bit more difficult to justify. We do have our reasons, they're just not really relevant anymore. Historically, cold water came from the mains and was safe to drink.
I'm quite all right, Barbara. I ran it under a cold tap.
Hot water was a later addition to UK households. When it did arrive, it was usually heated in a tank in the loft, therefore it wasn't as fresh. Modern bathrooms do sometimes have mixer taps, they've just not really caught on yet. Number 4.
I've never seen that. Do you guys have that in your houses? Like, where you have separate hot and cold taps? I've never seen that before. But I mean, that obviously wasn't something impossible to explain because he literally just explained it, and I understood what he was saying there. So, but that's interesting. Never saw that before.
The tea obsession. No, Britain is not the only country to enjoy a nice cup of tea.
Do you know, I can't remember the last time I had a good cup of char.
But we are quite singular in the way we take it. It's possibly only the Irish who also understand this one. For the real tea drinker, you must understand this is not just a casual beverage. It is usually an addiction, begun in late childhood. A cup of tea can be a consolation, an offer of friendship, or a gauge of how long a visitor is going to stay. When a British person says tea, they do not mean chamomile or green or iced, they mean English breakfast. Usually with milk and often with sugar. And please, don't leave the tea bag in the cup.
Tea Earl Grey hot.
Number 3, metric.
I'm one of the only people, well, I think I'm one of the only people I know that actually enjoys hot tea. I actually enjoy hot tea. I'm like the weirdo in my family that doesn't like cold, sweet iced tea. I'm from the South in America, and so that's like a huge thing. There are sweet iced tea here is pretty much the same thing as what warm tea with maybe, like he was talking about, like it's an addiction. The cold, like sweet iced tea here is an addiction, and I've never understood it. I don't like it. I do not like sweet iced tea, but I enjoy a cup of warm tea. Now, the English breakfast tea, I'm not sure if I've ever had that. Generally, I do enjoy a nice herbal tea from time to time, though. But yeah, anyway.
Or imperial. The UK officially adopted the metric system in 1965. That's over 50 years ago. It's what they use in Europe. It's what we learn in school. It's a much simpler way of working things out, as you're working with units of 10, not 12. So why do we still weigh ourselves in pounds and stone? Measure our height in feet and inches? Travel in miles? Buy beer and milk in pints? The older generation will occasionally still tell you the temperature in Fahrenheit. Shouldn't we have acclimatized by now? No one under the age of 70 grew up under the imperial system. Good luck explaining this to anyone outside Britain, because it makes no sense at all. Number 2.
Wait, so you guys at one point used the same system we still do in America, but you switched over 70 years ago or something like that? I don't remember what he said, the exact date, but okay. I have heard people in the comments talk about miles instead of kilometers to somewhere, or things like that. But I know you guys generally use stones instead of pounds. I'm not really sure if anybody knows how many pounds are actually in a stone, because I hear people talk about, they weigh a certain stone or whatever. And where does that come from? Is it like, did it literally come from the size of a particular stone, or so? What does that mean? Like stone, where did the name, where did that measurement of weight originally come from? Baked beans for breakfast. I could do that. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Baked beans for breakfast. British food has never had a great reputation with the rest of the world. We traditionally choose hearty, comforting food, and that's okay. We need it in our climate.
Why not? I think, look at this. Hold on. Where are you? Hold on. Are you kidding me? It looks delicious to me, man. Some sausage. Is this some bacon, or what is that? What is that? Some sort of meat. I like that. A couple eggs, baked beans. Is this tomato? Some juice. I don't think this is breakfast, but is that fish and chips? Yum. I dig it. That looks good to me. That looks good to me.
Had a great reputation with the rest of the world. We traditionally choose hearty, comforting food, and that's okay. We need it in our climate. However, if there's one British dish that visitors really can't fathom, it's the humble beans on toast. Baked beans are a staple for the average Brit. Usually eaten as part of a fried breakfast or as a quick snacky tea, sometimes they're just what you need.
Beans on
They
toast.
are eaten elsewhere in the world, but you'd be more likely to find them at a barbecue than on a breakfast table.
That's true.
No one else has taken this simple convenience food to their hearts quite like us. Number 1.
Okay, beans on toast. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of like what that would be like. Obviously, a lot of you guys know what that's like because I'm sure you eat that from time to time, or maybe all the time. I don't know, but I've never actually, until I had heard about that on a video a few weeks back that I did on British food. Was it top 10 British foods or something? I don't remember what it was, but it was British foods, and they talked about beans on toast. I was like, I like baked beans. I'm not a huge fan of toast. I mean, it's okay. I mean, I'm not against toast, but beans on toast. I don't know exactly if your baked beans, I'm guessing they're kind of sweet. Obviously I can't compare to American baked beans that I know of. I don't know if they're sweeter or less sweet or whatever, or if they're more kind of tangy, tomatoey. But that's interesting. I don't know. I definitely like to try it, see if I like it.
What is the country actually called?
Okay, the United Kingdom. Some people, I've learned all of this. I didn't know this, but you got some people would say Great Britain, but then you got Northern Ireland coming in to make the UK, and then United Kingdom.
The United Kingdom, Great Britain, the British Isles. So which is it? Well, the British Isles is a geographical term. It describes a group of islands including Great Britain,
And
the island of Ireland, the Isle of Man, the Scottish Isles, and the Scilly Isles. Great
Scilly
Britain
Isles, never
is
heard of
the
those.
biggest island in the group and is made up of England, Scotland, and Wales. The United Kingdom is a political union. Full name, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
Sure.
It includes England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. The red, white, and blue flag is the Union flag, or Union Jack, and is composed of flags from England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, but not Wales.
I know. So weird.
Do you agree with our picks?
I would say most of those, I wouldn't say were impossible to explain. I understand most of those. Now, to begin with, like to an outsider, someone who's never looked into it, like I was before I started this journey, the difference between Britain and the UK and all of that, Great Britain, and I really didn't have a clue at that point. Now I understand it. So it can have some confusion to begin with, but once you look at it enough and kind of repetitious in your mind, you pretty much understand it. Otherwise, for the most part, I mean, I get this. I mean, I don't know if I'd say most of these were impossible, because I mean, I pretty much, I mean, I don't know, but they were some very interesting things, like is it Marmite? What is that called? What was that called? Marmite. Hold on, where is it at? Marmite. I wonder if that's good. It says it's savory, and it's like a yeast extract from making beer. I don't know. It doesn't look that appetizing, but I don't know, but a lot of the other food looks delicious. I happen to like a lot of the food that, I think I'd like a lot of the food that is shown to be popular in Britain, but insults are our love language. I felt like that was the case, that, it was kind of people like to rib each other, if you know what I mean. A little bit, but generally speaking, I pretty much understand all these for the most part. Wouldn't say they were impossible to explain, but anyways, guys, thought this was a good list. What would you add to this list? Do you have anything you'd add that you would say is truly impossible to explain to a non-Brit? Anyways, guys, thank you so much for stopping. Please click this like button and feel free to leave your comments and suggestions about this video or anything else you'd like to suggest. And also, please don't forget to subscribe and also click that bell notification icon so you will be notified of future uploads. Until next time, guys, peace.